Hello and welcome to Husky Huddle. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. With me, as always, all he does is train, teach class, and he beats that ass. Tyler King. Tyler, how are you?
I'm pretty good, Steve.
Yeah. Coach
Better than
Schuman.
shape, better than the shape of the UConn football program.
Coach Schuman is getting his camera worked on, trying to get it fixed as we speak. So I apologize. He'll be with us momentarily. Better than the UConn football program.
I mean, I'm
You
just,
disappointed with
you
us?
know, Dave, you there?
No, he's fixing his camera. Once he
Oh,
gets his camera fixed, he's
I
coming back
mean,
on.
I'm obviously just talking a little junk. They got the W this week. I was at the game, got to see everybody. Obviously, paid really close attention to the game, but I mean, I'm glad they got the W. But that was a pretty dreadful game that they could have put away a lot sooner than they did.
Yeah, it was. It was. We talked about it. We had Joe V on the other day, and those slow starts are killing them. They start slow. They 70% announced 70% of the run game is outside zone perimeter. Oh, I like the helmet. I like the is
Well,
that what you
it's not a
prefer to
helmet.
use?
This is my
Your Jason mask. Yeah.
it's my costume from last night.
Oh, you went trick or treating.
I didn't go trick or treating.
Went to a party.
If, I mean, by a party you mean we were supposed to have a party at the gym. No one showed up, so we all went to the bar. Yes, a party.
Okay. But yeah, you were there firsthand.
Yeah.
And were you on the sidelines at all?
I was on the sidelines pregame. Then I sat in the box with our former teammates Julio Sunday and Tanner McClowry. Um, it was just I've been like literally front row at Gillette Stadium, the old Foxborough Stadium, for old Patriots games that were like that. What I mean is, the game just had such a drudging pace, and a lot of times when you have that kind of pace to a game, the game is going that way. Usually, it's at the behest of the game plan of one of the coaches,
Right.
and I'll tell you right now, that wasn't Moore's game plan. The, ga-
No,
they
I don't think so either.
I mean, you brought up a really good point earlier that they run a constant amount. You said about 70% of the time that 70% of their runs were the outside zone play. They were the more physical team. They probably should have tried running between the tackles, dump the middle a little more.
And that's what they did in the second half. That was their adjustment.
The second half was they played better. I would say they played great. They played better in the second half.
Yeah.
But
Well, the 100-yard kick return
well, of
was tough.
course that I'll tell you what though, it was like the stadium came alive for about a minute and a half, and then it was just kind of like, okay, we're sitting here, just gonna watch this game drag on some more.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, they finally got to see some action. It went to halftime at 3-0. So,
Hey, defensive struggle, which happens, but I mean, I could just me watching and kind of having the awareness that I do as far as
yeah.
football goes. Coach Moore and his staff were not happy.
No, of course they weren't. There he is,
There's the coach.
the
I'm
coach himself.
I'm here.
And you look better than ever on camera.
Oh yeah, right.
You do. You look great. You look fantastic on camera. So, it's
Uh,
good. It's good to see the beard coming back too.
the beer.
I'm a
I
fan.
like
I'm
the
a
beard
fan.
because it distracts people on one of our other shows. They said that the beard's distracting, so I'm glad it's back.
Well,
I'm glad
some
it's back.
people need to keep their mouth shut, Dave. You need to keep that beard.
Tyler, why don't you show Dave the hat that you're wearing?
Oh, where did I put that? Oh,
It's on your head, Tyler.
I thought you meant the other hat.
Oh, that one. Look at the hat, Tyler.
Ah, that's my man
Tyler's
right
got the
there.
He's
Hell
got the
yeah.
mega hat on. He's ready to go.
Tyler, I voted yesterday. Early voting.
You early voted? You mean legitimately? Like it wasn't a
Oh,
ballot that was sent. It wasn't one of 4 ballots sent to your house, 3 of which were for your like deceased neighbors.
No, you could go. I don't know if you could actually go to a poll station and vote early. Actually, the
Good.
same way that you vote regular. And it
Yeah.
was interesting because there are a couple places around me. The one that's near me, which I didn't go to, which is more I would say heavy Democrat voters,
Yes.
heavier Democrat voters. Supposedly there's no line to vote there. Where I went, which is heavier Republican voters, line around the corner.
Oh my God.
Around
Good.
the corner, dude.
Most popular president in American history,
That's good
Joe
news.
Biden.
Yeah, dude. Trump is Trump. At least in early voting, the Republicans are people who are voting for Trump are coming out in droves, and they're not coming out in droves.
Maybe we could turn New England a little bit better shade of red. That'd be very nice.
Who do you want? Who you want to turn red?
New England.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
New England's classically been a blue area. I would love to see some purple and red in this area.
Oh my God, that'd be great. New Jersey, that would be great to see New Jersey that way. New Jersey's historically been in the last 20 years blue, so New Jersey used to be. We're going back like probably 35, 40 years, but it used to be red, but now it's blue. So
Yeah, will this be the first time that Jersey went red
if
in a while?
If Jersey goes red, it probably, I would have to look it up, but I would say you probably have to go back to like maybe Reagan.
Oh my God, it's been that long.
I mean, I got we're obviously a sports show, but I'll make a comment on this. Who's your governor right now?
New Jersey, it's Murphy. Murphy. Chris Christie's.
Yeah, his name escapes. His name escapes me. So thank you for that. But the policy he's enacted has done such a job of disillusioning and upsetting the populace that something like turn New Jersey red is in the cards just because the Blues that are in power have done such a bad job.
Correct.
That we might see the unthinkable.
Well, in New Jersey, the last time Jersey voted red was when George H.W. Senior, not Junior.
Wow.
Won in 1988. That was right after he was a vice president for Reagan, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So that was the last time Jersey. So that would be. It's almost been 40 years. So if that happens. But Jersey almost in the governor's race, Murphy had been there for, I don't know how many, multiple terms as a Democrat. He almost lost to a Republican in the last, it was very close in the last election. So I think there's a chance that Jersey go right now. New York, I don't know. That would really be.
I don't think that'll ever happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. New York's been closer. We were closer this race.
You do have upstate. You do have upstate that's big red, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things we'll see is if the campaigning that President Trump did in New York actually made a difference. Let's see how many districts he can win, because he will win some districts. And years ago, that was pretty unheard of. But the job he's done campaigning in that state, he will win some districts.
New York has not been carried by. The last time New York went red in a presidential election was.
I know Pataki was governor.
80 Reagan.
Oh, I guess not. Wow. Jesus.
84.
Wow. So that would be two major upsets. So from
Yeah.
New York to Maine, is that primarily blue?
Yeah,
Yeah.
primarily, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Probably Delaware to Maine.
Wow. It goes that far.
Yeah, because Delaware's where Biden's from.
And then once you hit the DMV area,
Well,
that's when
Pennsylvania is kind
there's
of
a
purple.
swing.
It's
Yeah.
purple. Right? It could
Right.
go.
Pennsylvania is one of the biggest swing states.
Yep. Yep. And then I wonder what Maryland is. Maryland must be mostly
Maryland, Virginia,
Maryland. Maryland's probably mostly blue too, but I'm not 100%. Oh yeah, okay. So Maryland hasn't gone. Let's see when Maryland go blue. It's been a long time since Maryland gone blue too. I think.
All right. Maybe we should talk about football.
Frank
Oh
just
yeah. Oh,
needs
there's a football game this weekend.
Frank just needs this
Apparently.
to be over. He can't wait.
It's
wait.
funny. When you get close to the election, it's actually I would say it's more exciting, but it is as exciting.
I tend to agree. And now with the betting apps, there's a betting app now that you can gamble
You
on the
can?
election. Yeah.
Is that on regular
Like
It's not. It's
DraftKings.
just. It's no. It's not DraftKings or anything. It's not a specific betting app. I've been seeing advertisements for the last couple of weeks. So, hey,
Hey,
might have to put a grand on my boy Trump.
Yeah.
yeah.
I wonder if they give you odds or anything. That's funny.
No, they do. They do have odds.
They do. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Last time Maryland went red was 88.
Wow. I didn't know that some states have gone that long.
Yeah.
Sticking to where they are. Like I know Mass is always going to be blue.
Always.
It is interesting.
Always.
Yeah,
Mass is always Democrat. It makes me sick.
Yeah, they
Boston's the most fake Democratic city in the world because every single person I know, every working class person I know, is very Republican. So
right.
And yeah, they only have like 2 state senators that are Republican, which I think is hilarious also. But
that's where the revolution started.
It is. That's when it started.
Exactly.
That's when it started. This is UConn's last home game.
Okay.
I am very excited having a chance to go out to it again.
You're going tonight. You're going.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, we're leaving around 1:00. So
Who they played? It's funny. Like we're talking Husky Huddle. I guess we're not reviewing the Rice game. But,
Georgia State. No, it's a Georgia State preview. We're previewing that game. Yeah.
Okay.
We reviewed Rice on Monday. This the Fridays of the Georgia State.
You know what? Thank God you did that because
I know you wouldn't have a lot of positive.
Like
he was there.
Again, there. I was there.
He rang the bell.
I rang the victory bell pregame.
Because Orlovsky, they didn't have his feet covered.
We can't all be mostly defensive MVP. No. So
I know, Dave.
Actually, only one.
I know. Orlovsky, we couldn't get his feet covered, so the bleeding blue wouldn't.
Couldn't get his feet covered. Couldn't get out of college football preview. Sorry, Docky.
He could have got out. We could have been there by
3:30. Listen. You can't forget where you came from.
I know you can't. But he's completely changed his life. He's a born again Christian, and he takes that very seriously, and that affects the people that surround him.
Well, I'm not putting his business out there, but tenuous at best.
Tenuous at best. Okay.
Yeah,
That's a nice
exactly.
way of putting it. That's a nice way of putting it. But yeah, no, I mean, like even guys like he was boys with Fincher and Mo and those guys, like they don't hear from him much. And I know it's because a lot of his job and he's a family man and he's got a lot going on and he's great on, he's becoming the Peyton Manning of commercials. So that's why. But I thought he would have shown up for that. And I actually kind of thought Coach Edsel would have too. I
Yeah.
thought Coach Edsel would have.
I I don't want to be too much, but very positive Coach Ezra was going to show up for that. But I
You,
mean, just
you were positive that he wasn't going to show up for it.
I was
I know he's
if
overseas.
I had an app that I could bet on, I would bet on it.
If you had an app, you could have bet on it. Well, this is we were talking about it. I was with Chris Bellamy last night on a show, and Bellamy is not going to this game just because he's like burnt out because it's been 7 straight home games. I can't do it anymore. He's like
Yeah.
it's been such a long
Oh,
home.
100%, and like like it was such an amazing environment in the box with Sunday Terry McClowry, Bellamy was there, and like all the kids having a great time,
All the
but
kids on the ball.
they are a lot. They require attention. And, like they're great, they're amazing kids, but as a parent, oof, like you can only
Tyler,
do so much.
that's why you and I don't have children. That's why
Well, I
you
mean,
and
I'm just talented at destroying relationships. I don't know about you.
I. Did you just say I'm talented at destroying relationships?
Yep.
You know what, Tyler? The Cullys have that skill set.
myself.
The Cullys have that skill set too. And
Man, why I think we're such a great fucking a great effing
you can
podcast
swear on the
duo.
podcast. That's fine. Um,
Okay.
Ernie really enjoyed your last UFC review. Just so you know, he was very
Who's
excited.
that?
The radio show that you
Good,
never listened to.
good.
And I got to and
I live in
Dave.
Boston, not Worcester.
I know, but you can go on the website and listen to it.
Okay. All right.
That's all.
I did look at it. I look at the range of that.
Unity.
Yeah, not very far range.
Oh, they don't have a far range.
Well, they have Worcester. They have Worcester and the
But
surrounding
yeah,
suburbs.
yeah.
Worcester.
That's their market.
Worcester, the very best part of Massachusetts. Even better than Martha's Vineyard.
Really? Why?
Worcester's
is
the
that?
worst city in the state. Worcester's a dump.
Yeah, I know. Steve. Steve, come on. Come
Yeah,
on.
the sarcasm. Okay, I got you. But Tyler, you had mentioned being at the game.
Yeah.
And Dave and I were talking with Joe Villapiano on Monday, and we
Yeah.
mentioned how the CBS announced that 70% of UConn's run game was outside, was perimeter running. So I thought that they came out and they did try to run their outside zone, their perimeter runs,
Of course.
and they got it shoved up their ass. And at least in the second half, they made some adjustments.
Yeah,
And
like
they went to the pistol, which
uh,
is better. I don't love it, but it's better.
no, I'm right there with you on that. I also don't love the pistol. They should have played some more pro set, maybe even power I, and try to run between the tackles. It seemed to me that UConn was handling them up front. Like the offensive line, in my opinion, has been playing beyond expectations, especially in this game. And they didn't seem to take advantage of that. It didn't seem like
Well,
they had game plan for it or had it in their game plan to run between the tackles.
Well, this game they struggled a little bit because they were down to a backup left guard and I think the right guard was their third string guards. They had some injuries
Yeah,
up
but
front,
they were
which hindered
still
them.
doing well up front.
They were knocking them off the ball when they ran
Exactly.
north south, when they ran the inside zone stuff, and let
Exactly.
Robinson be
Why would
downhill.
they go back to that? Why
Well,
wouldn't they go
they
back to
did.
that?
They did the second half, but I'm saying I hope they come out and do it right
Oh, I
away
got you. I got you.
for this game, as opposed to trying to hit your outside zone stuff. I think you got something going with the pistol, and then Dave, you mentioned the compliments off the pistol that they can use.
Yep.
With some of the play action, with some of the
Yep.
nakeds. I think that they have to implement that offensively. And, I don't know if it's 2 or 3. It's 2, probably the last 2 or 3 games. The first half has just been, I don't know if they scored a touchdown. So I think a fast start is important. As I've said, Dave, I have never been one to like to take the ball first. But maybe you take the ball. Maybe you try to get your offense going early. Maybe you try to send a message.
Well, I mean,
I always defer, but
I like to defer at
get the extra possession at the end
unless
of
you
it.
think this team is really weak, because you could kind of see how your team's coming out and then go
Well,
from.
yeah, which they look to be. I mean, they have struggled, but they did beat Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, who had turned it on and beat Alabama,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Well,
if
I mean, I'll say for this game, I believe they should, like Steve said, take the ball, and they need to get Cam Edwards going in between the tackles. They
yeah,
they need to really establish that power run game. I said those still a little banged up, might be a little difficult, but Cam Edwards is 23 yards away from a 1,000 yard season, and he's kind of emerged. He's the guy that's really emerged as the
no,
workhorse in that running back core.
that's
They
inaccurate,
need to give him
Tyler.
the ball. What's it?
That's inaccurate. He is not close to 1,000 yards.
Cam
Um,
Edwards, is it? I'm
no,
looking at a report right now. It says Cam Edwards needs 23 yards excuse me, for 1,000 in his career. It says
oh
career.
yes,
I'm
yes,
sorry.
yes,
I
yes. That's
apologize for that. I thought it was 1,000 yards for the season. It says career right here, so I
No,
apologize for that, everybody.
they have a great running game. They average right now. They have 1,543 yards as a team
Yeah.
rushing. Darrell Robinson is their leading rusher with 565 yards, and
Excuse me for that, guys. Sorry about
that's
that.
fine. Tyler, we had a show yesterday or 2 days ago with Joe D'Ambrosio, the voice of the Huskies, and
Yes.
Dave. How many times did Joe fact check me? And I was wrong. I was
I, I,
wrong.
I think.
Steve, I'm not you, though. I'm better than you. I'm sorry.
I know. Joe, I would make a statement, and Joe would not miss a beat. And nope, no, Steve, that's not correct. That is incorrect. He
Good.
uh, he knew all his stuff, and I said some things that were inaccurate, like UConn. I felt we had a more successful run from 2003 to 2010 than the basketball program. And he quickly was able to shoot that
Steve,
down.
they won like 3 national championships at that time.
No,
What
they
are you
did
Yes.
talking
not.
about?
They won a national championship in '04. Okay. I thought from '03 to 2010, I wasn't thinking of the '04 team, but I was thinking from '05 to '10 that they weren't as great, and they missed the tournament even a couple years. They lost in the first round, and then I think he said it was '09 they went to the Final Four. which I did not know. So I was wrong there. But what still bothers me is Joe Figliano has played 3 games, I think, and he still leads the team in passing. He's got 1,000 yards passing pretty much. And he's
Oof.
got 11
Oof.
touchdowns of 3 interceptions.
Good
Evers
numbers
has,
right there.
yeah, and Evers has 739 yards passing, 51.8% completion percentage, and 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So that is not a good statistical season. He's taken
No,
6 sacks.
but
Um,
like, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just saying we had given up 4 sacks on the year, or yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 4 sacks on the year, and he took 2 last game, which I thought could have been avoided. One was definitely a protection issue, and Joe and I had a discussion about that, if the protection is being called for him or if he is able to adjust it. So we don't know how the operation runs.
Well, I mean,
And
most likely the quarterback at
I
the
hope he
line, he
does.
recognized the pressure. He can
I
adjust the protection,
I
but
hope he does. I hope he
well,
does.
I hope he does too. But with having such a young offensive line, that's something you need to scheme for. Keep the extra tight end in, keep the back in. Um, I do, personally, I don't know if they've been
100%.
doing that enough. I don't know if they've been doing that enough. Um,
100%, Tyler. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that.
and looking back on it, quarterbacks kind of running for their life versus Temple, so that's an issue that
Yeah, Temple
they
got
they
after
obviously
him.
need to win this weekend, get bowl eligible, but these protection issues is something that needs to be addressed before the bowl game.
Yes, 100%. Dave, I mean, I thought the same thing. We talked about it a little bit. They do a lot of 50 protection, which is just the 5 guys. They don't like to keep the back in. I'm big on 60 protection. I mean, I'll even go 70 protection if I have to, because his comfort back there, especially since he doesn't have the experience, I would think that has to come first.
I agree. I think that you're better off with less guys in a route or maneuvering based off,
Yeah.
especially if you're doing some of this RPO stuff, leveraging that and keeping more guys in protection.
Yeah.
Um, I also think you're better off with some play action versus RPOs with a guy who's
Huge.
still getting his feet wet, quarterback. Then you could evolve to RPOs because the problem with RPOs is the quarterback is going to get hit, okay, and it's different than option because
Exactly.
option when you get hit, okay, you're reading it and you rep it so much that you understand where the hits are coming from much
Right.
better. In
Valid.
RPO, I mean, a defensive end screaming or a linebacker on a blitz screaming. I mean, they have a large run before they get to you, and that could be a very painful experience, even if you complete the pass. So
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of a quarterback that's still trying to get his feet wet doing a ton of RPOs. I think protection would be better. If you're going to go empty sets or 5 wide receivers or anything that like 4 wide, you're getting them all out and you're very little protection. You have to have immediate hots that are going to cause him to get rid of the ball now or running a draw for himself. That's the way I look at it.
Did
Like,
you do that when you were a coach? Did you have site adjustments where they would turn into hot routes based on a blitz or pressure?
yes. Now it's harder
Okay.
when you get some of these newer schemes. It is harder.
Yeah.
But your biggest threat is the inside guys, meaning like
Yes.
the guys coming off the edge immediately now. That's really your big. You could probably protect everything inside, no matter how you're doing your blocking scheme. But I'm always big on sliding and sending it back to one side. Wherever if you're going to slide two or back, whatever you decide to do, send the back one way or the other. I like sending the back to the front versus the back because they basically always miss the backside guy because that's just the backs don't do a good job blocking.
Yeah.
But at least if you miss the front side, you can see them being missed. You know what I mean? But
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
yeah,
So you'll slide the line to the
away.
side. But to the side, the quarterback's going to throw to.
You could, yeah, you absolutely, because you could do half
Okay.
roll. You could half roll that
Okay.
way. So you can move the pocket,
Right.
throw, and for a guy like this quarterback we have, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So forever. But yeah, like you have to really know what you can do there. But my big thing is that if you're gonna have a hot, you have to know where you have your protection, and
Okay.
that hot is you're protecting the other backside or front side, whatever you're doing. Okay, and then the other side is the read side, and if that's showing now, like it's to me is you throw it or you run a draw for yourself, like
Yeah.
because if
Yeah.
like meaning you make a mistake, meaning uh, the mistake is that he didn't rush, right? He dropped off, and you thought it was a hot. You go to throw, and then it obviously drops off, and you just want to draw for yourself because, I mean, you see teams doing this all over the place
One of my favorite plays.
because especially because he can run. So what basically you get in the situation is you're trying to get him confidence because if you're going to go with very little protection. I think what you're talking about is the better way, which is get him some more protection, have some less receivers running routes. That's the better way of doing it to
Yeah.
me until
Yeah.
he gets confidence. But if you're not going to do it, you have to literally make it. This is your check read. If he comes, you're throwing hot. If not, you go through regular progression. If you think he's coming hot, and you make a mistake and he drops off, you run a draw for yourself. That way, you
That's
don't
how
have
it
a
works.
situation where
Yeah.
you're standing there and you're just going to get killed. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
um,
Well,
yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I
no,
know that.
Dave,
I know
you're
that
doing
concept.
great.
We.
The one thing I would say about this, Georgia State's pass rush is extremely poor. They can't
Yeah.
generate a lick of pressure. This is a game where they should really shore up that pass protection. Go pass heavy, run, look at like play very true to the scenario that's going on in front of you. What I mean by that is, you play third long, work on your puck protection. They need to really shore up all the different protections. Do what you do best. Like Steve was talking about I believe you were talking about the 70 protection, Steve.
Yeah. Yeah. 60 or 70.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if you run 60 or 70 pass protection, really like just bear like really lean into that, bear down on that, and really work on these protections because right now you have a team coming in with I believe a losing record
Two.
that it is a as a poor pass rushing team. This is a week you need to
Very poor.
really work on things that have given you trouble so you can execute it in a real game situation and build confidence in these offensive linemen going into the late part of the season in the bowl game.
100%. And as Dave was saying, I love Dave. We would do trips set, trips with the backside receiver. We would speed motion the back out to the trip side and basically read the front side inside linebacker. So if he sprinted out of the box to cover the back or widen with the back, then the quarterback would run the draw. If he stayed in the box and we had numbers over there, the we would throw the flat route to the back, and that was always an easy, effective play, an easy throw, an easy read, and it protected him because if the linebacker expands, now he has numbers up front to block because the center
Exactly.
and guard end up working to the backside linebacker. You're out the gate. That was one of our better plays, one of my favorite plays. and I still think they need to use some 12 personnel. I like both their tight ends. I like Hansen and Hunnick, and I think that they can really get into some 12 personnel and knock this team around. I think that needs to happen because they just rushing. They're giving up over 200 yards a game. So that's something they, like Tyler said, they need to take advantage of. And
Exactly.
is a pass rushing team. They only have, I believe, 8 sacks on the year.
Yeah,
With
their pass rush is
yeah,
atrocious.
yeah,
This
which
is one of those games they need to really shore up their protection. Get the guys familiar, get the guys sharp. Because obviously you have to win the game. Coach Warren, the staff's gonna have guys prepared. But looking at this opponent, this is a game where those protections you're unsure about, you have to really shore it up. This is a game where you build the offensive lines and the quarterback's confidence in that protection so they can execute better in these tougher games that we have coming down the road.
yeah, Dave, because Evers has played and not against the top opponents. I think he needs this game to have an outburst like Figiano had against Merrimack.
Right.
And if he can do that, and if he can put out a 4 touchdown performance and throw for 300 something yards, I think that will go a long way to his development and go a long way to preparing for the rest of the year.
I think that's a big part of it. He has to get that confidence because he's still young. You remember, like
Yeah,
it's
he's
not.
a sophomore.
Yeah. So there's a lot of upside there. We don't want to get like crazy with like, but I think little successes and little wins are a big deal. And the more
Agreed.
he, the more he can get those little successes, I think the better off he's going to be each time he comes out. Um, I think the one thing, the only thing that's a little that always makes me a little nervous is just that we don't um we're not very good at our completion percentage. And
No,
that's
very
one
poor.
of the
No.
things as a quarterback, like I don't know, I feel like it still remains to be seen, but I feel like there's a thing where um I feel like there's a thing where guys who don't complete passes, it seems to be something that is either with them or not. And that's the only, like, if you look through the history of quarterbacks, like guys that complete high percentage all the way through in their careers seem to complete high percentage. Guys who don't seem to don't. And I guess there's some guys that can change, but that's a very hard thing to change because it's like a feel for timing. You know what I mean? Like when they get rid of
Yeah.
the ball. Um, I think that's a big deal, and you see it even in the NFL. Like there are guys that just have higher completion percentage all the time than other guys, and you're just like that they're just gonna have a higher completion percentage, and that allows you to have like consistency. So that's the key. That to me, what completion percentage does unless you're like Navy or Army, where you're just running triple option, then you take a shot down the field. Who cares if 50%? If
Right.
you went 5 for 10 and two of them are touchdowns, who cares? But like if
Hmm.
you're a team that's thrown as much as we are, you want to be like in college, like at near the 70% range completion percentage. Should
Yeah,
be.
that's the norm now. I
Yep.
mean, they did a study on the NFL quarterbacks, and 60% and above is expected.
Yeah.
And with the new rules and everything, giving the offense the advantage, it's completely attainable, and especially with teams getting completely away from running the ball. So I agree with that. I agree with that. And we got to give credit to the UConn defense. The UConn defense has saved them the
Hmm.
last few weeks and have been playing out of their minds. And I think their opportunity. Rice could have been up 21-0 by the end of the first half,
Oh,
and the defense held strong.
I agree with that 100%.
And I didn't believe in it. I never believed in the 3-3-5, and it's made me a believer. They're able to get pressure, and the kids play hard, and they have an attitude about them, a toughness that brings me back to the days when Tyler played. When
Yeah.
Tyler played, and Tyler played on that great front four with Uwe and Mulcahy and Smoot and Hakeem. I mean, they just had a different mindset, and I still remember when we played Boston College, the deer in the headlight look in their eyes after the first series when you guys shut them down. They just they were out of it, and that's what I think they have in this group. Um, because they don't get discouraged even with turnovers and when the offense struggles and they're put in the worst positions imaginable, they still come out of it. They still perform well, and and they've won games because of it. They're 5-3.
Yeah.
It's not a pretty 5-3, but they're 5-3. They should be getting to 6-3, and then you got UAB, Syracuse, and UMass. And if this game goes the way that it should go, if they have the success that they're capable of having, if the offense comes together and really score some points, the defense is going to do their job. They don't give up 100-yard kick returns. I mean, they should win. They should win big. They should win
Well,
big, and that will give them the momentum, right, Tyler?
I mean, I tend to agree with you. One thing I kind of observed here throughout, like the media, I noticed in the press box.
The media.
I believe. Well, I'm just talking about like what I've read.
Oh,
The expectation, the bar started way down here at the beginning of the season. Now it's way up here. They they've kind of become a victim of their own success in the
yeah,
sense that more brought a new attitude. The team started performing far better than it has in years, especially after the failed second Edsel regime. Well, fans were expecting so much with Coach Edsel coming back. We got a giant dud. Not trying to throw stones, but it is what it is. Moore brought this new attitude, and it became very evident early on that this team was pretty good, and all our expectations went up here. We have to keep in mind we were a 2-9 team a year ago. Now we're on the verge of bowl eligibility. Moore has obviously injected entire new attitude, mindset, and the results on the field speak for themselves. But let's reel it in a little bit, people. This is a team that was 2-9 a year ago. Obviously, you
yeah.
got these great turnarounds, but we're going to be looking a lot prettier in year 2, year 3, and year 4 of the Moore regime. We have to keep that in mind. These expectations are great. The way the team has performed has been great, but I don't want to throw any shade at anybody, but Moore's definitely makes some chicken salad out of something else.
He's doing more with less. He's done more with
Exactly.
less. And
As Brock Lesnar said, as your man Brock Lesnar likes to say, chicken salad out of chicken.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, they in 2021, his first year, they shock everyone. They go 6-6 and end up in a bowl game. Last year was 3-9, a disaster, and this year, legitimately, they should win 7 games. I think they should win
exactly.
8 games.
And that's the progression I was just talking about right there.
Yeah, and then next year is a favorable schedule as well.
Hmm.
So we're hoping that with that, Bleeding Blue continuing to raise the NIL money and Mike Burton doing just a phenomenal job, that the talent is going to continue to come in. But a guy like Skylar Bell, who is now on the radar, we got to keep him.
Yeah.
We got to keep
Of
him.
course.
We can't lose him. And some of the running backs, Robinson or Edwards, we can't lose those guys. They're young guys. So it's going to be important to keep the talent that we have. And then, like I told Dave, we remembered at the start of the season, Dave, we looked at the roster. There were 60 new faces combined between the freshmen and the transfer portal. So that is a huge overhaul.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, there's no doubt that is a huge overhaul, and that's that's the positive part that's changed the dynamic. That the transfer portal has worked well in Moore's favor. I mean, there's the as D'Ambrosio said, the money we spent.
He
QB,
spent it
I'm
very
still
well.
up in the air on. I'm not sure, but everything else, slam dunk. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes.
so and QB's just harder to know exactly. Like I feel like the again the biggest thing with the QB position is they have to kind of get an identity for this quarterback. Okay,
Exactly.
he a dual threat in everything that a dual threat entails? Is he a running guy first and everything that entails? Okay, I don't think he's a passing guy first, but
No.
you have to really that has to be established because then we can find out like is he really good enough the way we want him to be? Is he making the right progress? But like making him a drop back passer half the time. Then he's a dual threat guy. Then he's a running Q. Like
Yeah. Yeah, it's asking a lot
that's
of
a
him.
lot. That's a lot, man. To me, that's a lot for a sophomore quarterback who hasn't played
No.
Valid
much.
No.
point. Valid
No.
point.
And I know Joe D's issue was this was his third school, his third transfer. So he always questions, why does that happen? And I know the first one was because Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma. The second one at Wisconsin was because Wisconsin's quarterback was pretty darn good, and he read the tea leaves and saw that he wasn't going to have a chance and get a lot of action. So
Right.
he came to us, and he hasn't played that much. And people forget that he does not have a ton of experience. Um, he got hurt at Maryland. He missed Merrimack, and then he missed the Florida Atlantic game. And then I think Temple was his first game back. He struggled there, and then after that, they played Wake. He kind of struggled there, but he got better. He threw 2 touchdowns at the end, and then last week he really struggled 9 of 24 with an interception. So you're looking at a kid who's played in 4 games. So it's not enough
And I
really
don't hold
to judge him.
I don't hold 3 transfers for quarterback as like, there's a very few positions where you're really caught in a bind. Quarterback's one of them. You
Yeah.
go in there, you get beat out for whatever reason, or somebody's liked a little bit more than you. I mean, what are you gonna do as a quarterback? Like people are like, oh, you got to grind it out. And yes, if you see a future, meaning the guy ahead of you is 2 grades ahead of you. You're a sophomore. He's a senior. But I think some of these quarterbacks get in the situation where it's like, I'm the third guy. Like, what am I going to do, dude? This other guy's ahead of me. He's the same class as me. And he might be slightly better, or maybe he's not even better. And he just got, they liked what he did more. Right. So quarterbacks, because there's only one of them playing on the field, is one of the few positions that I think if a guy has to transfer a few times, I bet you if you looked across college football, I bet you 2 or 3 transfers of quarterbacks probably are all over the place.
They are.
What like most quarterbacks, like they're not going to go. A defensive end who fails can play linebacker, can play tight end can play tackle. You know what I'm saying? There are places you can go. Where do quarterbacks go other than maybe receiver if they get lucky? Like there's nowhere for you to go as a quarterback. So I that's why you see a lot more of it. Other positions, yeah. I mean, if a defensive end is transferred 3 times, you know,
Yeah.
he's probably either not that good or there's something going on. But yeah, but quarterback, I mean, that's probably going to be the norm going forward, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
what are they
they're
supposed to
trying.
do? It's the same thing if you're a kicker. If you're a kicker and you're behind somebody, like, what are you going to do? I mean,
Well, I think they're trying to. They passed legislation that you can only transfer once or twice. They
Yeah.
tried to limit it so it wasn't as much like free agency.
right,
And I was talking with Chris Bellamy last night, and he said that it's like a pro league now, and
Yeah.
these kids they're employees. They're basically employees without having that title next to their name. They're
right.
employees. So it's going to be interesting to see, especially Bleeding Blue for Good. Mike Burton, fantastic job. If we're able to raise the money that he needs, that's necessary, because the budget is going to be almost double to what it was for this year, and to get the kids that we have to keep, to bring in the talent that we need to
Yeah.
continue to have success. And Bleeding Blue having that collective, and I just again find it interesting that the collectives don't work together, but I think that will tell the story. And like Joe D said, it's going to be the haves and the have-nots. Like he said,
Mhm.
Providence basketball isn't going to have a huge war chest of NIL collective money to pay people. But
Yeah.
I
Like,
mean, at least in this game, UConn is favored by 8.5 and has a 75.5% chance of winning, according to ESPN.
8.5 point spread. This might be the one to gamble on.
So yeah, the over unders at 47.5. Um, and just looking at some of their numbers, the quarterback for Georgia State has 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Joe Figiano still our leading quarterback with 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, which looks great on paper. Robinson's 565 yards, 5 touchdowns. Their guy is Brock. He has 497 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then the receiving. Skylar Bell is just so dynamic, and 28 catches, 581 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He's a kid that they need to get him the ball more. They're underutilizing him. They got to get him the ball more. I'd even like I said, I'd like to give him a jet sweep. Hand him the ball in the jet sweep.
Agreed.
Run run
Agreed.
some wide receiver inside blast screens, something like that, just to get the ball out to him.
He's just
Uh,
too good.
he is. I mean, he mostly catches fade balls, but I think there's more they can get out of him. Him and Sheffield are both transfers. They both done a great job. It's just they like. I don't think our issue has been talent. I just think it's been we haven't put it all together yet offensively. But I think the dam is about to break.
Mm.
So going into our predictions for this week, um, Tyler, Crown
Yes.
Sports Entertainment. I guess we'll give you the first start. If
Um.
your prediction for the UConn Georgia State game. In mind,
Sorry.
I won last week.
Of course you did. Um. Spread's 8.5. I'm thinking hopefully they get some scoring going. High end number. I want at least 30. They could be. I'm thinking it could be like a 35-17 type game, but I just don't know if UConn has the explosive edge on offense to put up that many points. I mean, what's their high score this year?
They scored 48, I think, back to back against Merrimack and Florida Atlantic.
Florida Atlantic and Merrimack. I mean, Georgia State tends to fit that mold, except they seem to be a little more hard nosed, more of a winning program back in their um, one double A days.
They, they're new to 1A.
Yeah,
Percent.
I'd say it's 35-17 UConn. I hope. I hope.
Yeah, yeah, yep, yep. I'm just trying to double check. I wanted to see what Georgia State was averaging offensively, their team statistics. But Dave, what would you go with here with an eight
Um,
and a half spread
I,
and
I think they're going to explode offensively here. I would say 31-14.
yeah, I mean Georgia State's only scoring 21 points a game. Um 31-14. 31-14. All right. All right. I'm going to go big.
You're going to go big? Oh, big. Oh, go big or go home.
I'm going to go big. I haven't picked against UConn all year.
Oh,
Uh,
you're going to pick against them?
Jesus Christ,
no, I'm
Steve.
not picking against them. I'm not picking
Oh,
against them.
okay.
I haven't picked against them all year. And I was closest last week. This week I'm gonna go 42-10 UConn.
Woo!
Ooh,
42.
ooh.
It's Nick Evers' coming out party,
I
and they
hope
put the
so.
offense together, become bowl eligible,
They're
and
quietly watching our pod, They're quietly watching our pod.
I think they are. I think they're going to utilize the pistol in the inside run game more, and not try to run outside as much. I think that they're going to have some play action. I'd love to see them run a naked. That's all I've wanted all year, just one naked, and I think it'll
Just
go
one
big.
naked.
We
Yeah,
don't like them naked.
and we like them naked.
I,
So
good
that's
man.
kind of where I see bowl eligible, and then you got UAB, Syracuse, and UMass to finish the year. So they get the 6 wins. I think they're gonna they could very easily end up 8-4, maybe even 9-3. So things are looking up, and it has been some ugly wins, but they're still wins, and that's what
Agreed.
counts, and that's
Agreed.
what's going to help us get into a conference. So that is what I will say. Um, but I know um, I'm excited to head out. I'm going to be heading out soon, making the trip out to stores or to rent to the rent, and very
East
excited about that.
Hartford.
Yeah, East Hartford, not the nicest place. Um, so
Valid.
for Tyler King, the Marauder, all he does, he trains, he teaches class, and he beats that ass. And the coach, David Schuman, myself, Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges and throw them back at life.